Hi guys, I'm Aaron Leaf Green. Not the green psychic tonight. I'm just Aaron Leaf Green. I'm Aaron Leaf Green. Okay, so I just finished recording this video, and I meant it to go for 10 minutes. I went for half an hour without even realizing it. So I'm re-recording it again really fast because that's way too long. So what we're doing, what the purpose of the video tonight is it's supposed to be happy fun art time. Yay! I want to turn it into this thing. Now, keep in mind, with everything that I say tonight, this isn't about arts and crafts specifically. We're going to get into all of that. But the point, because it's very easy to sit there and go, there's no point to that. No, I can't be bothered. Like, why would I? The point that I'm trying to get out here tonight is art therapy. You do this stuff to try and take your mind off problems and depression, and you know, instead of, oh, there's just so much that this can handle. So just like we had the adult coloring in book stuff, that's also very good, and you concentrate on that, taking it the next step. We've got polymer clay. Okay, so polymer clay is this, okay? Alright, this is from Kmart. I've got the photos up there because right now my audience is mostly Australian, and this is the easiest place to get it and the cheapest as well. So what is polymer clay? Now, as you can see, it's very different to the clay that we used in high school. This is not ceramics. This is not, you know, you can leave it here for, this has been sitting where it was for about a week, and it's totally fine. The air doesn't hurt it. You don't need water to work with it. In fact, keep water away from it. Yeah, so you get two types of, look, polymer clay has a billion brands. Some are harder than others, some are softer. I will go through that a little bit more next week when we actually do the intro to polymer clay. This is just a very quick overview. Excuse me. So when you get it, it's kind of normally a little bit hard. So it can be hard to work with if you have arthritis or problems with your hands, I would assume. But, you know, there are ways around that if you really want to get into it. You can get a pasta maker or a rolling pin and work with that, and it'll be just as good. So what you do is you play with it for a few minutes. It's called conditioning. You're conditioning the clay to be able to work with. So now it's all nice and soft. We can go ahead and do whatever we want with it. Now that's another question. What do we do with polymer clay? So hopefully in my editing I'm putting up some pictures along the way. But a lot of people make jewelry from it. They make little charms. They make little statues. You can basically do whatever the hell you want with polymer clay. That's up to you. So hopefully in the coming weeks I'm going to have little projects that we can work towards. I want to show you guys how to make a little teddy bear and go from there. And like, I'm going to be making a miniature one at the moment while I talk, but really all it is making a series of balls and sticking them together. It's really not that hard. So you can see how easy it is to pull apart. And when you stick it together, you don't need glue, you don't need anything. It sticks together pretty well, even though it's not sticky on your hands. So yeah. Okay, so yeah. Oof. Get there. That's okay. So yeah, polymer clay is really fun to use, and when you're done with your little creature or whatever you're making out of polymer clay, you simply just chuck it in the oven for half an hour. You know, you don't need a big kiln. You don't need to dry it out for weeks and weeks and weeks. It goes in the oven on a very low temperature for about half an hour. Always check the instructions on your polymer clay because every polymer clay is slightly different. And yeah, that's basically what it does. So I'm going to stop here because, again, I don't want this video to go longer than it should. Oh, that's a really big snout. Okay, so you can just see in that 2 minutes that I've been talking, I've kind of made half the bear already. And you can see right now that it's two different size balls as the belly and the head, and two other little balls as the ears. That's how easy polymer clay is to do. Anybody can do it. You can make little gifts, okay? There's other stuff that I'm going to work towards, like making little name plates or making little letters that you can say, like, you know, Thank you for being my friend. Wow, Golden Girls. And turn that into a little piece of art that you can give somebody to hang up or put on their fridge or their shelf or their desk or whatever. There's so much you can do with it. Don't even get me started. Okay, so these are different things, texture rolls. You can buy the stamps, and what they do is they put pattern into your clay. So kind of self-explanatory, but there you go. Now you've got this cool pattern, although it kind of looks spider webby, and so you can go ahead and use that pattern and paint it. That's the other thing with polymer clay. You can either get the no color or the colored clay. The difference here is if you get the colored clay, if I wanted to make a rose on a green stem with green leaves, done. I've already got the clay. I just have to make the rose, the stem, and the leaves. Done. With the non-colored, it's normally you end up painting it and you use acrylic paint. Okay, acrylic paint is basically plastic paint to go on plastic clay. So yeah, and look, with these colors, again, I don't want to get too far into it because we need to speak about resin, but if I wanted to make a purple that's a different color, you can actually end up mixing blue and red to make purple, or you can put white with the purple to make it lighter, or blue with the purple to make it darker. So it's like paint. You can actually mix it. It doesn't mix straight away. Just like I was conditioning it, you'd get two colors together. Actually, let's just really quickly do this. You get two colors together, you stick it together, you start mixing it. Okay, the yellow is really overtaken. That's a bad example, but normally the colors swirl and you have to keep mixing it until it changes color. Okay, all right, so look, I hope you tune into next week. Polymer clay, we're going to make a teddy bear and maybe even a pendant that you guys can wear. Even if you're thinking, oh, I'll never do this, I encourage you to keep watching, simply because, you know, it may get to the point, as it did with me. I'm like, oh, this is cool, but I'm not going to do it, where I got the craving to actually do it, and I got addicted hardcore, because it's endless, the things you can do. And in this day and age, everybody kind of has what they really want when it comes to presents and Christmas and all of that, so it's a great way to make individual presents and stocking stuffers to give family and friends. Just very quickly, here's a dude that I made. It's just a monster skull. It's very dirty, and well, it's been in the wars. It's very dirty because I ended up using this as protection. I used it in magic, and so I keep it in a place where it gets dusty and dirty, which I love because it adds to the magic. This guy is another guy that I made, and I have been leaving him outside to test what the weather does to it, and it has done nothing at all to it. So I really love this guy. He started out, I'll put the pictures up of what he started out. I did a little picture of him, and then I turned him into a worm, and then he turned into this. So that just shows you that when you get started, you know, I had no real plan, but it just kept changing. I'm like, oh, this would look cool, this would look cool. So yeah, all right. Now we're moving on to resin. What is resin? Resin is kind of, think of it as water, putting water in an ice cube tray, and then you put the ice cube tray in the fridge, and the water turns into ice, a solid thing in the shape of the ice cube tray. So that's basically what resin is. One thing at a time, we get molds, we mix the resin together, and you'll put it in the mold, and depending on which resin you're using, you can leave it, and then when you come back to it, you simply take it out of the mold, and you've got whatever made out of resin. So look, there are two types of resin. This is the one from Kmart, and the one that most people are going to have best access to, and this is UV resin. Okay, so this is epoxy resin. Now with epoxy resin, you normally get more. It's normally for bigger projects. You can use it for smaller, that's fine, but epoxy resin is normally two parts, equal part A and equal part B. You have two chemicals, two resins, you mix them together. It's kind of like yogurt, and you stir it around, and then it's ready to go. The chemicals have a reaction. So then you put it into your mold, and then normally it's 24 hours. What is this one? Blah 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 blah. Safety directions, first aid. Okay, so resin will be dried to touch after 24 hours. Leave for 48 hours for resin to harden completely. Drying times may vary depending on room temperature. Okay, so see, resin is really good for a long-term project or a project that you're not, not doing in a rush. You normally take a lot more care when you're using epoxy resin because, like it said, it doesn't set for 48 hours, but it constantly changes. Like, parts of it get hard, parts of it don't. So what this adds to is if you're doing something like this guy, this is something I prepared earlier. This is my skull dude, and all I was doing was testing what this mold looked like and what it looked like with the glitter in it. I love it. I use it for my magic as well, but you've got to think of it as this was this way up. It was in a mold, so it was a big mold. So I would pour in the resin and in the mold, and fill it all up. And I mixed in the glitter with it. Now what I could have done is I only poured in that much resin with red glitter and let that set for a couple of hours. Then I could have put another layer of green glitter, let that set, and that's what I'm saying. A lot of the artists make multiple layers in epoxy resin, which is really good because there's a big thing at the moment with making pyramids, and yes, I fell for it and I bought pyramid bolts. So I will make a pyramid on here in a couple of weeks. I promised somebody that I was going to do resin coasters. Here's some pictures for you. I'm really sorry, I will make them because they're very easy for me to make, but this is as an introduction. I want people to be able to use what they have access to, and right now these are the Kmart molds. I didn't buy them because I'm not particularly attracted to them, but I will get them so that we can do a couple of practice things with them, because with resin you can put just about absolutely anything in it. Actually, I would steer you away from anything edible, because stuff dissolves even in resin. But resin, first and foremost, is a glue. It is a form of preserving something in resin so that it doesn't get exposed. But resin can also give you cool little art projects. So this is one of the ones that I love the most. This may actually look like it's a glass bottle. The whole thing is actually made out of resin. I poured it in a mold, and you can see the top where the mold was exposed. What I did was, the mold was this way. I poured in the resin. You can see all the bubbles through it, and then I put in a whole bunch of dried rose petals, as well as some other stuff. And this is basically a bit of a love talisman to bring love energy into my life. And it was not long after this that I got my little Billy Bear baby, my fur baby. So I really love this. I just wanted to show that off a little bit. So I primarily use resin to make my talismans that I've actually stopped selling at the moment, but I will sell again, that attract love and good energy and all this sort of stuff to you. So I'll probably end up making a lot of them on camera, because I actually add in, it doesn't matter, that I'll end up making that stuff. So look, this was a really quick intro to these two subjects. Now, the reason why I'm going to post these on a Friday night is because if we start doing a project and you're like, you know what, I want to give that a go, which I really hope you guys do, not for any reason to do with me, but just for your own benefit. Have a little bit of fun, have a little bit of play around. The good thing with polymer clay especially, which is what I would recommend first getting, is that you can literally leave it and then walk away for 2 weeks and come back and it's basically the same thing. So yeah, look, it's one of the greatest projects that I'm frustrated. I'm going to get on here and make some cool shit. And if you don't like what you've made, you can always chuck it in the bin, although I highly suggest giving it to people, because people will normally be like, oh my god, that's so amazing. People say it all to me all the time with some of the stuff I make, and I'm like, it is so simple. I can't accept that compliment. No, you just don't know what you're talking about, because it is so damn simple. So I am going to be spilling a lot of my secrets, but in the coming weeks I want to do little projects that you can watch me do, and hopefully it'll spark ideas for you to make your own projects, or have your own ideas, or I'd use a different color there, or I'd use a different technique or a different pattern, and hopefully go off and do stuff. So look, again, the question about all of this isn't what to make and what to do and what's the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to take your mind off your problems, of depression, of anxiety, of worries, and all of that stuff. This clay here, I put the prices up earlier, but it was probably about $20 worth of clay. Now, as long as I don't make a giant project, this clay will last a long time. I can do so much with it. So it is very cost effective in the long run of giving yourself that little breakaway from issues and problems. And who knows, you might actually pick up a passion. There's part of everybody that wishes they were creative and artistic and had a little flair on the side, and this is kind of going to be something that you can actually do. I am going to have friends of mine that are not creative and have no imagination, and they're going to do polymer clay for the first time with us on the channel. I'm going to record it to show how simple it is and how fun it can be. Like, I mean, you can get together and have a clay party with your friends who can make the best animals, and they're so simple. Like, you saw how quickly it was making that bear in 2 seconds. You don't have to make something like this. You don't have to make something like that. This is just what I personally make. I want to make a series of shrunken heads. That's why I started doing all the faces, because I want to end up putting herbs and crystals in them to help banish negative people and negative things that I can actually sell to clients and put up there on my website or whatever. But that's not in the immediate future. So anyway, I really hope that helped. I really hope that's giving you guys some energy for next Friday, because next Friday we are working purely on polymer clay. I'm going to have a step-by-step project for you guys to do. I'm sorry that the focus is so out. It's really attracted to my herb cabinet. So yeah, like, these are all the herbs that I use in my magic, and just in case people were wondering. Yeah, so I will have a project. Like I said, we'll make a bear. I'll do a basic colored cane and make like a necklace or a talisman or something like that, just to show you how you can do it if you want to do it. And don't forget, like, half the stuff that we're going to make are really good for kids. Okay, the age limit on this says 8 and over. Whatever, but I know 5-year-olds that can do this. So the thing is, you can make them little bits of jewelry that they'll find amazing and they'll love, because they're handmade. And you might end up making yourself something that you really like. So I'm trying to think of projects that you guys will like, everybody, because I have no demographic here. Everybody's welcome. So I'm trying to think of something, projects that are universally helpful to everybody. However, that's really hard. So I will start with the basics, and then from there I'll probably just make the stuff that I want to make. Like, I want to make some book covers to go on my art sketchbooks. So yeah, I hope you guys follow along. And look, even if you're not interested in the art side of it or doing it yourself, I do encourage you guys to give it a watch and just check in and see how easy it is, and hopefully pick up on the spirit of what these videos are meant to do, which is to inspire and distract, and inspire in that order. Oh my god. So yeah, if you're bored, come along, watch it, because I want to end up having like little competitions and get people to take photos of stuff and send them in if you guys want to. So yeah, hopefully we can make like an art club of some sort out of all of this, where it's not about competing about who has the best. It's just, look what I did. I made something. Yay! Because that's exactly how I was. And I still am. Every time I make something, I'm surprised that I actually ended up making something. So yeah, guys, I will leave it there. I hope it helped. Keep an eye out for the video on Sunday night. For the free triple deck readings. I'll be back on Wednesday night for Hump Day Helper, and I will be back on Friday for Happy Fun Art Time. Yay! Alright, catch you guys. Bye!